You know that feeling, right? You buy one new thing, just one, and suddenly you find yourself on this unstoppable spending spree. You're buying all this other stuff you never even thought you needed. Well, it turns out that's not just you being bad with money. It's a totally predictable psychological trap. And today, we're going to unpack exactly how it gets us.
To really see this thing in action, we don't have to look very far. Let's just take a super modern example that I'm pretty sure is going to feel painfully familiar to just about everyone. It always starts out so innocently.
Okay, so your old phone, it works perfectly fine. I mean, yeah, maybe the battery's a little weak or there's a tiny crack in the corner, but it works. But you convince yourself you need the upgrade. It's a productivity tool, right? A smart investment. So you do it, you go for it. You buy that shiny new phone. But the second you have it, the chain reaction begins. Your old charging cable? Ugh, it suddenly looks like ancient garbage. You've got to get the new wireless charger. And that cheap plastic case you had? No way. It's an insult to this beautiful piece of technology. So you grab that nice leather one. And of course, your old headphones don't have the right plug anymore, so guess you need the wireless earbuds too. And just like that, the initial cost just quietly inflates, almost without you even noticing it happen. So this is the big question, isn't it? How did that happen? This isn't just a simple budgeting error. What you're actually experiencing is a really powerful psychological phenomenon. It even has a name, and to understand it, we actually need to take a trip back in time. Believe it or not, the answer comes to us from 18th century France, and from a philosopher who fell into this exact same trap and ended up giving it its name. Okay, so meet Deni Dittoiro. He was this brilliant but pretty broke philosopher who was totally content with his simple life. Then, out of the blue, Catherine the Great of Russia, who was a big fan of his work, buys his entire library for a massive sum of money. Suddenly, Diderot is rich, and he does what any of us might do. He buys himself something nice, a beautiful, luxurious scarlet robe. But this one purchase, it turned into a complete catastrophe. His old desk, his chair, his rugs, they all looked so shabby next to this magnificent robe. So he replaced them all, one by one, until his entire study matched the elegance of that robe. And just like that, he was broke again. Diderot just captured his regret so perfectly with this one line. His old robe was just a tool, something he controlled. But his new robe? It became his master, demanding that a whole new world be built around it. And this brings us right to the formal definition. The Diderot Effect is exactly that process. You get one new thing that doesn't quite fit with your current lifestyle, and that mismatch triggers this cascade of spending to try and resolve the tension and create a consistent identity. So why is this effect so ridiculously powerful? Well, the answer lies deep in our subconscious. It's our deep-seated need to have a consistent, coherent self-image. Think about it like this. A single high-status item can act as an anchor for your identity. If you see yourself as a Honda Civic person, your world makes sense. Jeans, fast food, simple furniture, it all fits. But let's say you stretch your budget and buy a Porsche. You haven't just upgraded your car, you've upgraded your identity. And suddenly your old sunglasses and that simple furniture, they just don't fit anymore. They create this psychological clash, and you feel this powerful internal urge to upgrade everything else to match the new Porsche person identity you've adopted. You're not just buying things, you're trying to keep the story you tell about yourself consistent. And this right here is exactly why that old advice, fake it till you make it, can be so incredibly dangerous for your finances. Buying a status symbol you can't really afford doesn't just cost you the price of that one item. It invites a whole army of other expenses that your new, faked identity now demands. So let's look at how this psychological pull translates into some pretty shocking real-world financial consequences. This is where it gets real. Okay, take a classic home renovation. You budget $10,000 for new kitchen cabinets. Seems reasonable. But as soon as they're in, your 10-year-old fridge looks absolutely disgusting next to them. So boom, that's another $2,000. Okay, now the shiny new cabinets and the new fridge make your old floor look cheap and worn out, so that's another $5,000. But here's the real danger. It's when the upgrade leaks into other rooms. You're standing in your perfect new kitchen and you look over and suddenly you hate your living room. The critical point here is that your initial budgeted $10,000 project has secretly spiraled into a $35,000 renovation. The upgrade itself created the dissatisfaction that led to more spending. And you know, there's another hidden cost here that isn't about money at all. When you get that brand new expensive white couch, what happens? You stop letting your friends drink red wine on it. You're constantly telling the dog not to jump up. You're not living comfortably in your own space anymore. You're just the stressed out curator of a museum piece. You've actually lost freedom. So the big question is, what do we do? How do we fight this? Can we actually break this incredibly powerful psychological chain? The answer is absolutely yes. And here is a simple 3-step defense strategy. First, predict the chain reaction. Before you buy any upgrade, don't just ask about the price of the item. Ask yourself, what's the total system cost going to be? What else will this purchase demand I buy? Second, cap your inventory. Use a simple rule like buy one, give one. A new pair of shoes comes in, an old pair has to go out. This forces you to be a user of your things, not just a collector. And finally, this is the most powerful move, strategic downgrading. Deliberately keep some of your key possessions humble. If you drive a simple, reliable car, you're going to feel zero pressure to own a fancy suit to go with it. And really, that is the ultimate takeaway here. By intentionally keeping your status symbols low-key, you dramatically lower the required cost of the rest of your life. This creates what you could call a low-maintenance identity, and that frees up your cash to build real wealth, instead of just curating a museum of possessions. So I'll leave you with this one question. The next time that shiny new object starts calling your name, just pause for a second. Don't just think about its price tag. Think about what it's going to demand from you, from your wallet, and from the rest of your life.